Our hero, Boyka, made many mistakes in his life and lived for 10 years in a Russian prison, which was one of the strongest and wealthiest prisons. Boyka endured a difficult period of wrestling and fighting against opponents of extreme strength to the point where his leg was broken. Ultimately, he proved himself as the best wrestler in the world. One day, with the help of a businessman, he managed to escape from prison and became free. Now, he lives in Ukraine in the world of wrestling and fighting, but this time in a more professional manner. Due to his high skills, dangerous moves, and determination to win, he can defeat his opponents, and people cheer his name. However, until now, he has not been able to enter this world legally. In the Shuron prison, the warden, Markov, still runs betting on wrestling matches as usual, but this time, he has a new champion of immense strength and size named Koshmar. This beast is so terrifying that when the guards take him out of his cell, they use extreme caution and treat him like a ferocious beast. Koshmar's opponent, who is strong, becomes frightened for his life when he sees him. At the start of the match, he tries to land some blows, but they are completely ineffective, as if he is hitting a wall. Eventually, Koshmar decides to attack, lifts his opponent, throws him to the ground, and with a few powerful blows, kills him, crushing his skull, winning the match with ease. After doing many things in his life and trying to find himself and atone for his sins, Boyka donates to the church with every match he wins. The priest is very happy, especially since he has helped them a lot. However, at the same time, the priest wants him to stop wrestling because it is very violent and hurts people. But Boyka sees it as a sport like any other, with rules, and believes God gave him this skill to use. At the sports center, Boyka trains as usual. Today, his agent comes to him with good news. He has managed to secure a very important match in a European championship, which will be his path to global recognition and legal fighting. However, there is a condition. He cannot enter the championship unless he wins the upcoming match and impresses the officials. On the day of the awaited match, Boyka is very prepared and on edge, especially since his opponent Victor is talented and highly skilled. The match begins with a strong and violent attack from Victor, who lands some powerful and fast punches, matching Boyka's strength, skill, and performance. However, Boyka responds with the strongest possible blows, lifts him, and throws him to the ground multiple times. Victor manages to regain his strength and lands very violent blows. The match is extremely intense and exciting. Suddenly, Boyka gathers his angry energy and delivers legendary violent blows. The audience is impressed by his unique skills. Victor tries to continue the match, but Boyka continues attacking and throws him down again. Despite his severe injuries, Victor refuses to surrender. After receiving the most dangerous blows from Boyka, he falls to the ground, unconscious and covered in blood. Boyka ultimately wins and secures his participation in the European Championship. If he wins, he will become one of the greatest fighters. If he loses, he will forget his dream forever. This is his only chance to participate. The officials come to congratulate Boyka on his victory. His agent gives him his earnings from the match, and he is extremely happy. While Boyka is on his way out, he sees the ambulance taking Victor to the hospital in critical condition, hovering between life and death. At that moment, he feels guilty for harming another person, just as the priest warned him. That night, he cannot sleep, fearing that something might happen to Victor or that he might die. He knows he will not be able to forgive himself. The next day, he learns from his agent that Victor has indeed died. He cannot bear the shock and is deeply affected psychologically. He finds out that Victor is from Russia and wants to learn more about him, so he asks his agent to bring him Victor's belongings from the training center. Through them, he learns that Victor had a wife whom he loved dearly. Boyka realizes he has destroyed this family with his anger. He asks his agent for a fake passport so he can travel to Russia. However, he is warned that going there poses great danger because he is a fugitive from prison. If caught, he will be sent back and never released. Moreover, the championship is in 2 weeks, and it is the dream of his life. He cannot miss it. But Boyka does not care about anything and insists that his agent arrange the passport for him, even though this reckless act could ruin his life and end his dream. In Russia, a grand funeral is held for Victor, attended by all his family and loved ones. His wife Maya is in deep sorrow and grief. The businessman Zurab and his men attend the funeral, offering their condolences. After the funeral ceremonies, Zurab tells Maya that Victor owed him a lot of money, and now she must repay it. The only option she has is to work for him until the debt is fully paid. But he wants something else from her. If she agrees, her life will be easier, but it is impossible for her to do so. At this time, Boyka's agent manages to get him the forged passport and gives him some instructions so he can return safely. Boyka takes the first car until he reaches the Russian border point. The guard sees that his passport is Russian and asks him some questions before allowing the car to enter Russian territory. He reaches the city where Maya is and stays in a temporary hotel. He manages to reach the charity organization where she works and owns it. He sees her facing him, and she notices his presence. At the same time, Silava, Zurab's assistant, arrives and takes Maya by force. When Boyka asks the security guard left by Zurab at the door, he learns that no one is allowed to speak with her. Silava had come to take her for her work, which is in a casino owned by Zurab. Her job is to serve drinks to the customers present there. Coincidentally, this casino hosts illegal wrestling matches with huge bets. The match currently taking place is between Ligur, Zurab's strongest fighter, and another wrestler, but he is weak compared to Ligur and is easily defeated due to his opponent's legendary skills. When Boyka sees Maya, he quickly runs to talk to her, but Silava appears with his men and prevents them from speaking. He takes Boyka and throws him out of the casino. All of this, of course, happens under Zurab's supervision. However, Silava makes the biggest mistake of his life and orders Boyka to stay away from Maya because she belongs to Zurab. He insults him and orders his men to beat him up, but with incredible speed, Boyka delivers very strong blows with skill and defiance, disposing of them within seconds despite their numbers. At this point, Zurab appears and is very impressed with Boyka's skills. He offers him a job fighting for him, but Boyka refuses. All he wants is to talk to Maya, but Zurab refuses because he owns her and the entire city. He threatens Boyka that if he approaches her again, he will kill him. Boyka cannot forgive himself or forget the battles he fought, which fill him with guilt. The next day, he decides to meet Maya in front of the charity organization. The guard prevents him, so Boyka becomes agitated, beats the guard, and knocks him unconscious. He enters by force to meet her against everyone's will. When his eyes fall on her, he finds her sitting among the children. She is shocked by his boldness and talks to him. He gives her Victor's belongings and learns that she works for Zurab to repay the loan she and her husband took to open this charity organization. Sadness overwhelms her when he confesses that he is the reason for her husband's death during their fight in the ring. He tries to justify that it was just an accident and that he regrets what he did, explaining that he fought violently against his will. However, Maya cannot forgive him and refuses to take the money he offers her because it is stained with her husband's blood. She throws it in his face and expels him from the place. He leaves angry and beats the guard again. At this time, Zurab hires a group of new fighters, but they are mere children compared to him and unqualified for competition and fighting. He wants someone strong and highly skilled who can compete in matches and win them. At this moment, Boyka arrives and storms into the casino after beating the guards. Before Silava can shoot him, Zurab stops him and listens to the 2 words Boyka came to say. He comes to offer him a deal to fight on his behalf, and in return, Zurab will free Maja. Zurab likes the idea, and they agree on 3 matches that Boyka must win for him, on the condition that he wins all of them if he wants her to be freed. In the end, he must fight and defeat Zurab's champion. They agree that the 3 matches will take place within 1 week. Before Boyka goes to Zurab's private training hall, he discovers that Zurab has managed to learn his entire truth and real name, as well as the problems with his escape from prison. At the same time, Zurab reassures him that no one will approach him because all the city's police are his. Now, Boyka has decided to help Maya as much as he can and do something to make her forgive him. He calls his agent and tells him the news that he will have to wait a week. He promises to be on time for the championship. When Maya learns what he did for her, she goes to talk to him. Of course, there is no objection from Zurab since they now work for him. She is upset because he is fighting for her and wants him to leave and abandon her. In her mind, he is doing this to impress her and marry her. However, Boyka clarifies that all he wants is to try to fix the mistake he made, free her from the slavery she is in, and ease his conscience. Nothing more. Boyka arrives at the training hall and finds strong young men there. One of them tests him and tries to prevent him from training, assaulting him with blows. However, with 1 kick from his leg, Boyka knocks him unconscious on the ground, and everyone becomes afraid of him. The first of the 3 matches arrives, against Boris, a strong and fast fighter. It begins with a series of fast and powerful blows from Boris, but Boyka manages to avoid them all and defends himself fiercely. Boyka attacks his opponent with his famous move and throws him to the ground, almost breaking his face. However, Boyka stops at the last moment, remembering what he did to Victor, and settles for winning the first match. Of course, Maya was watching and goes to offer him a drink as Zurab ordered. He asks her if she knows a place where he can train, and she offers him to come to the charity organization and use the training hall there. The next day, he arrives at the place. The guard wanted to take revenge on him, but cannot since Boyka now works for his boss. In the training hall, Boyka exerts his utmost effort to be able to compete tomorrow in the new match, which will undoubtedly be against an even more ferocious opponent. The children sit and watch him, and he is happy with their presence. He gets the chance to talk to Maya alone again and learns how much she misses her husband and cannot get over his death. The second match arrives, which is unusual because Boyka will fight two opponents at once, the brothers. Boyka is shocked and realizes that Zurab is trying to make him lose the match to keep him here forever. At the beginning, the brothers gang up on Boyka and hit him from different directions simultaneously. However, he quickly focuses and strikes the first one with extreme ferocity, rendering him unable to move. He grabs the second and hits him with even greater force, knocking him to the ground. But fighting two wrestlers at the same time is difficult to withstand. As a result, he receives a very powerful blow to his back and suffers greatly because of it. However, when he sees Maya in front of him, he gathers his strength and fights with even greater ferocity. Ultimately, with his high skills and unique moves, Boyka manages to defeat the brothers in the match. The crowd cheers his name, and now, the final match will be against Ligur. However, Zurab had a devilish plan. An official from Shuran prison arrives and gives him a bribe to bring Koshmar for an extraordinary match. They learn that it will be against Yuri Boyka, the fugitive from their prison. After the grueling match that took place, Boyka goes to continue his training. Maya is at the charity organization, watching him train despite his severe injury. She offers him herbs to apply to his injury, which will help him overcome the pain. It becomes clear that she is beginning to understand why he is fighting for her and standing up to Zurab. When he asks her why she never thought of escaping the city, he understands that she cannot leave the charity organization and the children she cares for. If they are thrown into the streets, they will become gang members and criminals. Zurab goes to talk to Maya, thinking she is impressed by Boyka. He reminds her that he is a criminal who killed her husband, but she defends him, saying it was just an accident. When she stands up to him, he feels that she wants Boyka. He hits her and warns her that if Boyka returns to the charity organization again, he will kill him. The next day, Boyka receives a call from his agent after booking his bus ticket to leave immediately after the match. He learns that the crowds and press are waiting for him and that his dream is within reach. When Boyka returns to his room, he finds Maya waiting for him. She wants to know the exact truth of what happened in her husband's match, but he cannot tell her what happened. He tells her that he regrets many things in his life, that he was a very violent person full of hatred and anger, and that in Victor's match, he made a mistake he often made. He saw him only as a person standing there in the voice of his dream to be the best fighter in the world, when he should have seen him as a human being with a family and a wife. He never meant to kill him and deeply regrets what happened. The final match arrives against Ligur, Zurab's strongest fighter. It will undoubtedly be unlike any match he has ever fought in his life. Despite Boyka's exhaustion, the match begins with his opponent attacking him, but the response is very quick. He takes several blows of extreme strength and ferocity. The fighters are evenly matched in strength, and each has many skills and experiences. However, Ligur controls the match for a long time and is about to defeat Boyka, but Boyka manages to free himself from his grip, lands a blow on his opponent, and uses his strongest moves. He attacks Ligur with numerous powerful blows, followed by several punches that make him unable to balance. Ligur falls to the ground unconscious. Maya runs to congratulate him. With this, Boyka has fulfilled his promise, and all that remains is for Zurab to free her. There is less than 15 minutes left before the bus departs for the championship, but the surprise is that Zurab tells him the agreement is not over yet. He must now fight a fourth match. This makes Boyka extremely angry, and he refuses to fight. However, the problem is that if he does not fight this match, it will be as if he did nothing, and Maya will remain indebted to Zurab and imprisoned by him. Zurab promises that if he wins, he will truly free her. At this moment, Boyka receives a call from his agent to ensure he boarded the bus. However, Boyka tells him he will be slightly delayed and reassures him that he will finish quickly and come before the championship. At this moment, the legendary champion Koshmar arrives and enters the casino, terrifying the crowd with his frightening appearance and massive size. But what frightens Boyka even more is seeing the warden, Markov, who has come to watch the match and knows Boyka. The legendary wrestling match begins with a quick attack from Boyka and blows of extreme strength and violence. However, Koshmar is unaffected by any of his blows and counterattacks Boyka, grabs him, and crushes him, landing powerful blows. The tremendous difference in strength is clearly in Koshmar's favor, who uses his strongest possible moves against Boyka, who receives them without being able to do anything. He collapses before him and falls to the ground. However, when Boyka sees Zurab happy and laughing while Maja is sad, he regains consciousness, becomes angry, and returns as the Boyka of old who never surrenders. He gets up and attacks Koshmar to the point where, for the first time in his life, Koshmar falls to the ground. Boyka takes advantage of this moment and continues his attack on him with all ferocity, grabs his arm, breaks it, throws him into the air, and with all his strength, kicks him, sending them both out of the ring. Koshmar falls unconscious, and Boyka wins a historic match. However, Zurab refuses to keep his promise and free Maja. He orders his men to attack Boyka with clubs, breaking him and leaving him collapsed on the ground. But Boyka never surrenders. He gets up, fights them, breaks their skulls, and attacks any guard who tries to approach him. However, one of the guards shoots him in the shoulder, but he manages to overcome him, takes his weapon, and kills Salava. He runs after Zurab, who has taken Maja hostage, and Zurab orders him to throw away his weapon. Boyka does so, and Maja manages to free herself, giving Boyka the opportunity to attack Zurab. Boyka takes another bullet in his stomach but grabs Zurab and strangles him to death. Maja is saddened by what happened to him, and he asks her to forgive him for everything he did. When she feels that he is truly regretful for everything, she genuinely forgives him. However, before she can say anything, the Russian police arrive at the scene, arrest him on charges of murder and escaping from prison, and return Boyka to Shurun prison. After 6 months, Maya visits him and thanks him for everything he did for her. She shows him drawings the children made of him training and apologizes for being late in visiting him, especially since he restored her freedom and dignity. She assures him that she has forgiven him from the bottom of her heart. After these words, Boyka feels at peace and knows he did something right in his life. He is not sad about losing his dream and freedom because, in return, he gained something much greater. Now, he has returned as the prison's sole champion again, with no one able to defeat him. And so, our film ends.